For it to pop up here. Mhm. Okay, we are live. Gonna wait a few minutes for some people to join. Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear us?
Oh,
How you guys doing? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear us. I just want to make sure everything is good. We're excited. We're just trying out some new technology here. So hopefully this is doing and going to all the places that it's supposed to be going at this moment. But I know for sure we're live on Instagram and
yes, I can see us on Instagram. Where
YouTube.
else are we streaming?
We're on YouTube.
Okay.
We're on Facebook. So we're streaming in multiple locations today. So we'll see. Hopefully this works and everything is great. Well, you guys are probably wondering, what are we talking about today? Right. And so we are recapping our event called Dreams Unleashed
Hmm.
this past Saturday. And so it was amazing for everyone that made it. They had an amazing time. It was, if I had to put one word to it, transformational. Omega, what would be your one word if you had to put a word to it?
Um, I would say relief.
Mm,
Um,
yes.
I feel like a lot of the attendees felt a sense of relief. Um, and I'll even say a second word, freedom, because I know at the
Mm-hmm.
like there's so many words. I would say freedom. I would say transparency because we heard that a lot at the table. It was, you know what? I don't need help with this. Not help in doing the actual work, but I feel the need to be transparent with some of the exact words that one person said. Like I feel the need to share. I feel the need to like attach myself or like be a participant in this community that we have in this sharing. We were
Mm.
passing tissues because
There's a
everybody
lot
was
of things happening.
crying.
A lot of things happening.
Like
You know,
everybody was everybody was crying, but it was good, it was cleansing, and I think that that was more than we could have asked for.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. It's crazy. One of the feedback that I got was I thought I was coming to just like me to copy, cut, and paste, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all should know better. Me and Omega are deeper than
Hello. I mean, they may have met you, but they have not met me. Okay, I am Miss Y.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
because I want to know why. And like I said at the vision board party, and what I say all the time, you can't just cut Michael B. Jordan out and paste it. You can't just cut the mansion out and paste it on the board. You can't just cut the stack of money out and put it on the board. What does it represent? What does it mean? What are you looking for in a partner? Are you those things?
yeah,
Right? Do you have things set up to get a home, maintain a home, keep a home, transfer a home, whatever the thing is? Do you have the capabilities and do you have the wherewithal to be financially
yeah,
intelligent and aware
hmm,
and emotionally responsive so that you
yeah,
can be the person that you need to be in order to have those things,
yep,
right? So you can do what you need to do and some of what you want to do. So it wasn't about just coming and, all right, well, I like that word, I like that picture, let me just put it on here. But it was, let's sit in this for a moment and really
hmm,
take inventory of where we are,
yep,
where we've been, and then where we need to go.
yep. Right. And so I think so often we're just making goals. We're always just setting goals. Like it's the top of the year. For most people, they're just setting the goals. So prior
Mhm.
to us even starting the event, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before that, we started doing series, a live series, right? And so we brought on Pastor Mel, we brought on Keisha to talk about finances. We brought on a marriage and family therapist to talk about relationships and singleness, in marriage, right? In family. We brought on a realtor because people tend to like want to set goals to purchase a home, right? So just giving information so people can kind of think about what does that process actually look like.
Right.
And I think people stepped into the event knowing there was some level of work. They got a workbook, y'all. It was like 25 pages of
About
information,
25 pages, yeah.
right? And all of the pages had questions that were introspective, that really made them dig deep. Like, who are you? Right? Like, answer the question. Like, we're so always in a place of like being able to maybe identify where we're weak at, right? But what are your strengths? What are your strong points, right? What do you do well? And let somebody else affirm you in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Standing authentically in your truth, standing authentically in who you are as a person, what God designed you for. I love, there was a moment in the room
Mm-hmm.
everybody kind of was just like, but you could do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can, and you can do that well. Why not do it, right? There was a moment someone was like, we did a reframe. So we're going to talk about a topic today,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we reframe something, and someone in the room was like, but you're an expert.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we actually sell ourselves short
Yep.
because we're not taking ownership of our God given capabilities, of what
Mm-hmm.
He talents He's blessed us with, the resources, and we shy away. And your season may look different. For some people, their season right now is like, I'm preparing to be the expert,
For
right?
sure.
And how you steward that time, how you take that time to really say, okay, what do I need to be right in this
Mm-hmm.
moment? Do I need to be more disciplined? Do I need to be more engaging, right? Do I need to be more friendly, right? What are you being in the moment? And then what do I need to do, right? And so thinking about the season that God kind of places in you, right? And what you have to do, and who you need to be, right, to get what you want to have, right? So I want to have a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that take? Or I want to have the successful relationship. Well, who do you need to start being today? Do you need
Yep.
to be a little bit more kinder when you talk to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about on the relationship. I feel like our relationship live was probably the most engaging because
We need
everybody
to
was
run that back.
right. We need to run that back, bring them on separate because they got there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
But in the relationship, we were talking about our core values, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what are our core values? And then we talked about boundaries, putting the boundaries around the core values,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so even in Saturday, we were talking about who are you, what represents you, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
it's not, so many times we have core values, we walk around and be like, yeah, my core value was this and my core value was that. But if you examine the other areas of your life, that core value is not present. And so
Can't
maybe we
find
need
it.
to reconstruct where we're at. Maybe we got to pull down some things,
Mm-hmm.
what we were told. Maybe you're walking around with core values from your family, from your parents, right? But you don't actually identify, or you haven't found the depth to attach to that core value. And so you got to reassess and look at some things. And so it was a time of reflection. It was a time of transformation. It was a time of freedom. Like, I'm so happy that everybody that came enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed, like watching their faces light up.
For sure.
Yes, guys, this is all before they even started the cutting out and the pasting.
They had started conversations while they were eating.
Yep.
I mean, deep conversations that we had to pry them away from so we could
They're like,
actually start
guys,
the
it's time to
event.
start.
They were
Yeah.
like, "Yep, heard you. Just a second." And then go back to that point.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite parts of the evening was we had a husband and wife there,
Yes.
and we had started talking about limiting beliefs, and she was sharing some things, and then he just went in. I mean, he waited for the side, and he went in, running down like this whole list of her accomplishments, things that she's
You've
helped
done
him do,
well.
things that she's done for
Yeah.
herself. And she was just like, no, be quiet. And I was just like, no, go
No.
ahead and talk.
Yep.
Because I think that is so important and it's so needed to have. Sometimes we can't see it. Sometimes we're too close up. Sometimes we feel too defeated. We feel too beaten down. And sometimes it's helpful to have someone come and say, hey, remember you did all these things. Remember you accomplished all this stuff. Remember the goals that you set. Remember the people that you helped. And I just thought that that was so beautiful and so affirming for her and helpful for everyone else at the table to hear.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite moments. The other was when we were talking about relationships and our
Mm-hmm.
A, B, and our C people.
Yes.
And that was such an important conversation because not everyone is blessed with core people. Not everyone is blessed with like that, you know, my circle. They
Mm-hmm.
have a sea of people. They don't have necessarily a circle. So
Yeah.
just digging down and finding out what is it that I need to have, what is it that what is required from the relationships
Yeah.
that I am engaged in, what's required from the people that I want to be in relationship with. And this is not just romantic, but this is, you know, from coworkers. What are my boundaries there? What
Mm-hmm.
are the things that I need for friendships, right?
Yeah.
And one of the young ladies, her question was like, how do I identify my people? How do I identify the people that are for me? And so my question to her was, um, do you feel seen? Do you
Yeah.
feel known? Do you
Yeah.
feel loved? And do you feel safe? If
Yes.
they don't check off those four boxes, then they may not be your people. But
Yep.
if you have someone and you have people in your life that make you feel seen and known and loved and safe, those are the people that you need to hold on to, because those relationships 9 times out of 10 are reciprocal. You're going to get what you give out every single time.
Yep.
And not to make it that people aren't human, they are. So you extend grace and you know that things happen.
Mm-hmm.
However, at the core of it, these are my people
Yeah.
because I know I'm safe here. I can let my shoulders drop. I can be myself. I can take my good. I can take my bad. I can take my indifferent,
Mm-hmm.
um, to these people because I know they got my back.
Yep.
And that was such a huge moment, um on Saturday, and I'm like so excited. I'm like so excited. I'm so happy for those that were in the room, the clarity that was given,
Yeah.
just the I didn't think about that. I
Right.
didn't think about that. I
Yeah.
mean, they said that, but I didn't know that. Let
Yeah.
me write this down. I need to dig into this some more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's all about when we talk about vision, when we
Yep.
talk about vision casting, and we talk about
Mm-hmm.
strategy and planning. What goals are you setting?
Yeah.
Right? How do you know what goals you need to set? Are you just going after stuff just because
Right.
somebody else went after it or because it's a popular thing, but is it the thing for you?
Yep.
Right? Maybe a good idea. Is it a God idea? Right? Have you invited him into the process? Have you
Mm-hmm.
invited him into your planning, into the equation? And so those are the things that we were talking about. And I'm really happy that we did it. I'm happy that I wasn't sick anymore. So I was like, now listen, you gonna have to cough. Come on now. We
Yeah.
have things to do.
We're gonna
But
have to
I'm
do
so
it
happy.
later. But no, it was great. And I think one of the other highlights was capacity when we talked about
Absolutely.
identifying what your capacity is, right? And so many people, and I was sharing this with Omega earlier this year. I was like, sometimes we're just trying to do too much
Hmm.
at the top of the year, or we're trying to do something based off of an old system, and we're in a new environment, we're in a new place, and that system doesn't match where
Hmm.
we're at, right? And so what is your capacity in terms of your everyday functioning and your moving? And as we were talking about relationships and friendships, like that was one of the things that came up. Like, what is your capacity? Like how are you navigating the different things? And it's okay to be honest if you don't have the capacity.
Hmm.
One of the realest moments in the room was one of our attendees was like, I don't have an A, I don't want to B, I don't want to C, because I can only focus on A based
Hmm.
upon all of the demands that she had with her family, with her child, with her role, with her job, right? And so understanding where you are at, because then that allows you to also know what you can handle.
Hmm.
Like, getting into community may not mean like you building a relationship with one person. It might mean you getting out to go out with a group once a quarter, right?
Hmm.
Or once at, like, what is the capacity that you currently have in the season that you're in? And so we just unpacked so much, y'all. But the biggest thing that we talked about was limiting beliefs. Like, when I say, God, that just took the whole what we had planned and turned it upside down. And we had to spend a lot more time sitting with that, because that was the moment, I would say, of impact for every single person in the room,
Yeah.
right?
I was gonna say, even about capacity also, not only does it identify what you can handle, identifying your capacity also highlights what you need to ask for,
Or yes,
what
yes.
you need help with.
Yeah.
Because I think it's all, we get into the weeds of, um, what is it I need to do? What is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do. And it's, have
Mhm.
asked for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you asked for assistance?
Yeah.
Because everything isn't meant for us to do. Sometimes somebody else is capable of doing a thing,
Mhm.
and they're waiting to be used. They're waiting to be needed. But yet here you are trying to do all of the things, complaining that you don't have the capacity. You were never meant to have the capacity for a thing. The capacity you were supposed to have for was to ask for help.
Mm.
And I think sometimes that's why we're so burdened down, not because we're trying to do everything, but because, um, we're supposed to ask for help. And
Mhm.
the stress comes from not listening and not reaching out. So that's why, like, we don't use our communities properly.
Mhm.
We don't use our networks properly. You know, we
Mhm.
have these friend groups, but do you really call on your friends when you're like, you are in need? And it doesn't have to be anything tangible.
Yeah.
It's, yo, can y'all pray for me? Like, for real, this is what I'm dealing with. I have to be transparent. I have to be like my broken down, bare bone self. And if I can't get what I need from you, I'm carrying all this. I don't have capacity for it all. I'm stressed. Well, give it up.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that was also another part of the conversation at the table, because we had a lot of doers at the table, a lot of people just taking on a lot. Well, I can't do everything. No, you're not meant to do everything.
Yeah.
Right? He gave us days to work. He also gave us time to
The
rest,
rest. Yeah.
time to plan, time to sow, time to seed, time to do all of these things. But if you're not utilizing your time properly, then you will think you have a capacity
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah.
And capacity may not be the issue.
Mhm.
Also, with the limiting beliefs, we think about what other people have to say,
Mhm.
and we think about what other people have told us. Some of it is what we have told ourselves. But when it comes to limiting beliefs, I think that's the core of vision boards, the core of vision planning and manifestation. None of it will matter if you don't believe it.
Yep.
None of the work matters if you don't believe that you can do the thing, you can have the thing, you can be the thing. And so we limit ourselves a lot because we've taken on what other people have told us. We
Yeah.
limit ourselves because we've taken on and we believe way too much what we have told ourselves.
Mhm.
And if we just like stop for a minute and dismantle those limiting beliefs, we'll be in a much better position to not only see as far as vision is concerned, but also to be able to receive and to have and to create the lives that are, fitting for the things that we want and the things that we are supposed to have.
Right. No, I think, as we talk about the limiting beliefs, let's throw out some of the ones that we had in the room. Because I feel like everybody could probably connect or relate to some of the ones that we heard, right? And so, one, when we think about a limiting belief, let's define that. So, Omega, tell the people, what is a limiting belief? Another word,
So
limiting belief is negative thought processes, right? Negative limiting beliefs. Omega, tell the people.
a limiting belief is any thought or belief that you have that prevents you from doing, being, or having a thing. It could be about a relationship, it could be about people, it could be about a career, it could be about the world itself, society, anything that limits you from going out and getting and having. That is a limiting belief. And I think a lot of us, um, have carried some limiting beliefs from childhood. A
Mhm.
lot of us have carried limiting beliefs that were given to us and gifted to
Mhm.
us, right? There are generational blessings, there are generational curses, and generational burdens, right? And generational mindset, from people that maybe didn't think that they could do it. They've now given you that. And now you carry it thinking, I can't do a thing or
Right.
I can't have a thing. We ain't never going to leave the projects,
Yeah.
right? Because my mama said we're going to be here.
Yeah.
But you might have thought, I'm going to be a homeowner one day.
Yeah.
Nope, you're not, because I wasn't. So you won't be either. And you carry that, right? I'm never going to have money. My mama ain't have none. Daddy ain't have none. I'm just always going to be. Who
Yeah.
said? And
Right.
why is that the thing that you're holding on to? And so, we have to reframe the things that limit us. We have to reframe the things that are holding us down. I said in the meeting, one of the best things I've ever heard about affirmations is that they should speak to the things that we struggle with.
Mhm.
right? Our limiting beliefs. How can we reframe those limiting beliefs so now that they become things that speak to what we are struggling with, things that that our minds can get wrapped around. What is it that I need to say every day? What do I need to remind myself every day that I can do, that I can have, that I can be, so that I can get to the goal?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us are like just burdened and don't even know it
Yep.
because of things that we believe. We don't go around announcing every day
You don't
all
announce
the
it.
things that we believe. We
Yeah.
just exist in the belief.
Yeah. And sometimes what I've learned in my work is that sometimes the limiting belief is not always the thing that was said to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the nonverbals, right?
Yeah,
It's
the things that was modeled.
the things that
Mm-hmm.
were models and the things that you saw, right? And so then you took on this persona and you took on the idea of that thing and not being able to do it, right? And so I think as we think about that, one of the things that was said on Saturday was, I have to do everything. How many
Mm-hmm.
of us can I probably identify with at some point, especially for many women, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, I have to do everything, right? And the reality is, you don't have to do everything. You get to ask for help. Like, the reality is, you actually get to ask for help.
That is the thing. Asking for, and that is so hard because we don't feel like, in some instances, we can ask for help. We are worthy of help.
Yeah.
But a lot of us, again, our capacity is limited or determined by what we think we have to do. And
Yep.
sometimes if we would just ask for help, my response to that was, I have to do everything. It was, who said you had to?
Yep. Yep.
Who said you had to do everything?
Yeah.
Who said you couldn't say, you know what, let me identify my own capacity so I can say what I can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Because if I'm giving everything away, what is left for me?
What is left? And then you'll burn out, right? Then we can avoid
And then what?
it. Just happens. Yep.
And then what? Right? There are things that we are supposed to do, things that we need to do, things that we have to do, and some stuff we've been doing and nobody has asked us to do anything.
Yep. I would
I
say
asked you to
another,
clean your room, you clean the whole house. Now you don't have time for homework, you don't have time for work. I didn't ask you to do everything.
yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
asked you to clean your room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're taking on everything else and you don't have to.
You don't have to. Yeah.
You don't have to.
I would say another reframe to that particular one is also, you don't have to do everything, and it's okay if things fall, right? Like, one of the things I think we're taught is we have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do everything, right, something's going to go crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, the house is not going to burn down, right? And so if it's not in your capacity, particularly for that day, for that week, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But how do you recognize what the capacity is and understand, okay, maybe I do need to like just do one thing a day that leads up to this bigger thing at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I'm taking on all of it, right? Like you just said, cleaning a room. I'm taking on cleaning the whole entire house in one day. And because I saw my parents do it,
If the bathroom is your portion today, then the bathroom
the
is your
bathroom's your
portion
portion
today.
today.
That's
Right?
it.
And so
Enjoy your bathroom.
understanding,
If that is all that you can do today, then do that today. The other rooms will be there. They can wait.
yeah,
But you know, you just have to make a choice and decide, like, this is what I'm going to stick with. This is what I can do, and that is, you know, that's what's going to happen.
yeah,
Now the commitment comes in making sure you do that thing,
yeah.
that one thing, but you don't have to take on the whole world. It's
Mhm.
not your job.
Mhm. It's
It's
not
not your job.
at all. All right. What's another one we heard was, I gotta be perfect. I have to be perfect. Things have to be perfect for me to move.
That was much. Only because it's one of my, it's a gift, and I'm not going to say it's a curse, but it's a gift and it's a challenge
A challenge.
for
Yeah.
me, is to see people beyond where they are,
Yeah.
right? They don't necessarily see themselves there yet,
Mhm.
but I can see it. I
Yeah.
can see the roadblocks, and I'm sure I have friends that see on my path. They'd be
Uh-huh.
like, if you only just get out your way. But for me, I can see people doing the things, and it's like, if you would just put that down or put that to the side,
Mhm.
you can get so much done. You
Yeah.
can do so much because there are people waiting on you to do a thing. There are people waiting on you to be you, to be the expert. If you would just lay that to the side. And so there was someone there who, you know, it had to be perfect in terms of her career and things that she was trying to do. It's like, I can't do that yet. I know God told me to do a thing,
Yeah.
but I can't do it yet because everything isn't right.
Yeah.
And I told her, He didn't ask you to make everything right. He just told you to do a thing.
Yeah.
So you're waiting on Him to make everything great. He's waiting on you to do the thing that He told you to do. Again, you want everything how it's supposed to be, and that's not
Yeah.
your job. That's not what I asked you to do.
Yeah.
We're again doing things that we were not asked to do.
Too,
What were you
exactly.
asked to do? Do that thing,
Yeah.
and then He will make everything else work. And I think in terms of perfection, especially is, because this was a social media career conversation, it was, I can't do all the things in my business just yet
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not sure how to do it. But
Yeah.
there's this one thing that I know that I'm supposed to do. I've not done it yet.
Yeah.
Why? Because everything else doesn't look right.
Mm-hmm.
You gave the example about your being in your office space. Everything wasn't sewn up. It didn't have a nice bow on it, but I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to move in here. I know I'm supposed to be here in this place at this time,
Yeah.
serving these people in this location.
Yeah.
None of it makes sense. The
None of
rest
it.
of it, only thing that makes sense is signing this lease.
Exactly. Even that didn't
But
make
you did the
sense,
thing.
honestly. That didn't make sense either, but we did it, right? But you know what's so crazy? After the fact, I thought about that example on a deeper level. The night of my ribbon cutting, Omega knows, right? So 2 days before y'all, obviously we have a couch now, right? But 2 days before,
That's what I thought about when you were telling the story.
yeah,
I thought you was
and
going to tell the couch
I
part, but
didn't
go
know
ahead.
that just came to me, right? And I was like, you know what's so crazy? We were supposed to have, so we had a ribbon cutting, guys. So if for those of y'all don't know, our official office location is in Jersey City. This is our lovely office. We're still finishing up some things, but one of the things was when I had the grand opening, I wanted to have it all set up.
Mhm.
Right, I wanted everything to be in its place. I wanted the photos on the wall. I wanted the couch to be where it needed to be. I wanted the bookshelf. I wanted all the things to be where it's supposed to be. And so we had ordered some furniture, and somehow this furniture got lost, y'all. Don't know. It left the warehouse in New Jersey, and it went all the way. I can't remember. Was it Atlanta, to PA to come back to New Jersey, which is just didn't make no sense, y'all, right? And so this is 2 days before the event, and I'm like, I'm canceling it. In my head, I'm like, I'm canceling it. I'm
Mhm.
frustrated. Then the bookshelf, we had a little discrepancy there too, right? And so
Mhm.
all these different pieces had happened, right? And I was just like, this is not happening. And if I had moved with the mindset of things have to be perfect in order for me to announce something, if I had moved with the mindset of things have to be perfect to see clients in the space, right? I would have missed out on so many different things. And so in that moment, I had to improvise. Like, okay, what do I have? I have furniture in the location that I had access to, right?
Mhm.
I had friends that were willing to help. I had a husband that was willing to help. Like, all right, what I couldn't think because all I saw was red, y'all. All I saw was red at several
I
points.
remember I called you and I was like, "Are your eyes wet?"
I was crying. Oh, make
No.
like, you gonna be okay. Like,
Mhm.
let's get through this, right? And even the day of, there were other things that have happened. So things are gonna naturally happen, y'all. We
Mhm.
cannot avoid that. But when I say Omega and Mel gathered me the day of, right? Because you always need friends to gather you. And we're like, you got this. We're here.
Mhm.
It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna run smoothly. My husband was still figuring out the furniture situation, and it went smoothly. Everything was amazing, right? And so even fast forward, I'm still waiting. I was still waiting for a particular company to send me the product that they were supposed to send me. It just got here like 2 days ago. But I made the best out of it, and I started seeing clients in the space, right? Not only am I starting to see clients in the space, there are other business clients in this space that it gave
Mhm.
me access to. That if I had said, you know what, I'm not gonna move into the space, I'm not gonna set up, I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z, that I would have lost out on what God was trying to expose me to in my business too. Right.
Mhm.
And so if we're waiting for things to be perfect, we're gonna miss out
Mhm.
on people, and we're going to miss out on places. Sometimes we even miss out on, I like to call them destiny helpers that God has assigned to you because you were not at the location where God told you to be. And
Mhm.
now that vision, now that thing that he's shown you has gotten pushed back. It is gotten delayed, right? And so sometimes we self sabotage ourselves because we feel like things have to be perfect. We feel like things have to be, just get it done. Like at minimum, just get it done, right? Like how can I just get it done? Even for, I'm not saying that you guys have to be unprofessional. I'm not saying that you have to, it leaves room to just show up anyhow, right? But
Mm-hmm. Show up, sure,
show
but
up sure in the spirit of excellence, right?
yep.
Still with what you have and what you already can utilize. And so that was a great example of like things don't have to be perfect.
Because it's not about perfection.
Yeah.
And one of the things I reminded them, because it's something I remind myself, is if there's something that I know I'm supposed to do, I may be dragging my feet, but I have to get it done. There's
Mm-hmm.
certain things that I have to do because whether it's 1 or 100, somebody is waiting on me to do the thing that I'm supposed to do.
Yep. Yep.
And they are waiting on you. That's how it works. You do the thing, they're able to engage with the thing, hear the word, get the product, engage with the service, whatever it is, so that they can then go and support other people, and they can go and support other people. So there are a bunch of people waiting on you to do the thing that you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
whether or not it's perfect. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't ask for perfection. He didn't ask you to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. There's one who was perfect, and that is not the name on your birth certificate. Like, that's not how this works.
Right.
And so it would behoove us to get into the habit of just getting it done, just doing the thing. When they say done is better than perfect,
Yep.
that's real.
Yeah.
Get it done, because also, if you're not doing it, how are you measuring, your approach? How are you measuring your one, your capacity, and two, your output? Does this work? Does that work? You have nothing to gauge. You have nothing to look at. What are your numbers? Are people, do they like what you have to say? Do you need to change? Do you need to pivot? If you don't do anything, you have nothing to measure. So you have to get started somewhere. You have to do something. Every one of us has work to do, whether you're an expert or not, whether you're skilled or not, and money does not matter, right? It's not an issue because people are fearful. They got a whole lot of money, right? And they won't do a thing. And you're wondering, well, how did someone so get all this done with a shoestring budget? Because they're just doing what's asked of them. They're just doing the things. And so we have to like get in the frame of just doing.
Yeah.
He'll perfect it, but just get in the habit of doing, get in the habit of starting.
Yeah.
And I think once we do that, we'll be much better off.
Because I think so often we're waiting for God to do some big miraculous thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord will definitely perform miracles. That's not up for debate. But there's also a part of this where He's requiring you to produce something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as He produced it, like along the way, this was God. Like I know along the way having this office space is God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know along the way navigating my team is God. Like
Mm-hmm.
every single part of it, right? But I just had to do something, right? I had to post the job description. I had to interview the people. I had to then check back in with the Holy Spirit. Lord, what are you saying? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, right? All the different things. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
hold, right? All the different pieces. And being in a place of I'm not hearing God, sometimes it's like, all right, maybe He's just asking you to sit still for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and just practice what you are currently doing. Practice something that is going well in a sense, but maybe you're just in a place of you just have to sit and continue to practice that skill set.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He's covered you, right? He's covered you for that period of time. And at the right appointed time, when he release you, like you won't, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a green light just going all the way. You know when you get to a traffic light and it's green and then you just keep getting the green one and you keep going? Like no stop, no red, like it's just gonna keep going. Right. And so be prepared. Be prepared. Sit with yourself long enough to ask yourself the hard questions. Right. And y'all probably wondering like what's some of the hard questions? Well, we might have a treat for y'all. We'll see. We'll see.
And the questions are hard, okay?
Questions are hard questions and they're not like we said to you, the booklet was about. I wish I had it here, but I left it at home. It's 24 pages. Each
Mm-hmm.
page had like a question like that was like this thick, and then all this space for you to write, right? Because it's really making you dig deep on where you're at.
I
And so,
think that's the basis of, we talked about, we don't like vision boards as much as I do them, these workshops.
yeah,
The term vision board, or the surface process of how they're put together, people think that that's all there is.
yeah,
But at its core, it's introspection.
yep, yep,
It's sitting with yourself, asking yourself, how am I? Who
mm-hmm,
am I? Where am I? Right? And what am I doing? What have I done? And being honest with yourself and getting these answers so that you can plan, strategize, set your goals for future success.
yeah, yeah,
And the vision board is just a visual representation of the work that you've done prior.
mm-hmm,
It should not be surface, because all you will get is surface. There's no way that I'm, gonna have a visual representation of something that I have no connection to.
yeah,
It is going to mean nothing to me. Looking at it, okay, that's nice. That's like the random picture that you get in a picture frame. Means absolutely nothing to you.
nothing,
That's
yeah,
somebody else's family, somebody else's kids. Sorry to this man. I wouldn't know if I saw him walking down the street. I don't know you. But you put a picture of your family in there, your loved
it
one.
has meaning and it
It
matters.
has meaning. You've given it something. You've
Yeah,
given it, there's power there. When I look at that, I smile. If it's a picture of a graduation, you remember the time it took, the work that you put in to get that capping gown, to get that degree. But a lot of us are just using the pictures that come from the store. I don't know them.
mm-hmm,
That means nothing to me. So we have to give meaning to the things that we're displaying, so that we can keep our attention on our intentions, because that's what vision boarding is, visual representation, so that you can keep focus, and you know what it is that you're focused on as you are doing the work.
mm-hmm. And then the last part of this is really the first part, because we started it when we had Pastor Mel come on and we talked about like how does faith really play a role in
Mm-hmm.
casting vision, is what is the Lord saying about all the ideas that you have, right? And so you go through introspection, but your checkpoints, you still got to check back in and ask the Father to show you, right? Is there anything I'm missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have blind spots and we don't know, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we're operating a certain way for an extended period of time. And so sometimes it's sitting long enough to know what it is that you need to sit through, what it is that you need to work on, right? And that you can understand, like, I gotta push through this. I have to take time to sit through this. Therapy, guys, is hard work. I say people love to say therapy is for everyone, and I actually say therapy is not for everyone because you also have to be ready to sit through the
Mm-hmm.
hard work, right? I have clients that have not wanted to face the reality of some of the things that they're coming to therapy for. And
Mm-hmm.
we got to sit there long enough until they can smell their stuff and they can understand, okay, I don't like how this feels. And I actually don't like where I end up. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm ready to actually work through the thing that I said 3 months ago, but
Mm-hmm.
I was in denial about the thing that I was saying. Right. And so sometimes we have to sit long enough to really have introspection and say, what is going on with me? What am I not liking? We did a life assessment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had everyone put their numbers, right? And we didn't make anyone share their numbers. I was simply just said, if you don't like where a number is, just know that you can do something about it.
And that may be an indicator. We talk about inviting God into our plans, but taking an assessment,
Hmm.
an introspective assessment, could be your map for what I need to pray for,
Yep.
what I need to work on. If there's an area of my life that's not doing so great, I am not doing so great, and it not as good as I thought I was, then that's what I take to Him, right?
Yeah.
Show me how to be better. Show me how to approach it. Show me where to go to ask for help. What
Hmm.
should I be asking for? What should I be doing? Should I be waiting, moving, holding? Like, what are the things? And a lot of times, if we get that bit of direction, it can help us.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
you have to like be brave enough to take the blinders off. Okay, you're
Mhm.
inside now. Take off the shades, right, and see what it is that I'm really working with.
Yeah.
Because I think stuff is sweet, and it ain't all that sweet. It's a
Yeah.
little, it's turning. Okay,
Starting to infect other areas.
looking a little fuzzy.
No, but I think even as you just said that, feeling safe enough with God,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think sometimes a limiting belief of what we believe about our relationship in closeness and proximity to how God treats us, how he shows up for us. If I believe that I am the daughter of a king, I believe, think about, if we think about it in a natural sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
A daughter of a king, she'll go to her father for anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
If something happens, dad, this will happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at movies, if you even look at the Bible yet, but you just looked at movies, right? And saw any
Mm-hmm.
relationships with daughters of kings, anything happen, what does that king do? He takes care of it, he handles it, it's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if my belief about my relationship with God is not in a healthy space, that's also going to affect how I even interact with the Father. It's also going to impact my relationship growing with God.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, what do you even believe? If we're taking a step further, what do you believe about your relationship with God? What do you believe you have access to? Right. Do you believe that you should only just fear the Lord? Yes, you should have reverence towards the Lord, right? And do you also believe that he's compassionate and caring? Do you also believe, right, what is your belief about your relationship with Christ, and what does that how does that play out in your everyday life? And what you're willing to ask for, because there are some areas, if we're honest, some of us, we will say, I'm oh God, you can have this, but these two things over here, I'm gonna tuck this behind me,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't got to worry about that, Father. You don't got to worry about that, right? But the reality is, he's concerned about everything. He's
But
concerned.
some people are afraid to ask. I don't want to bother him. He's
Yeah,
not offended by our asking.
he's not
That's
offended.
what a lot of people don't understand. People that are, I don't want to bother. That's too much. I've asked for this. I don't want to ask for everything. He is not offended by your curiosity. He is not offended by your questions. He is not offended by your asking. It's almost like, we wait till things are bad to have a conversation. Like the kid who keeps messing up
Yep.
just so that the parent will talk to them.
Yeah.
Right? They're not on how was your day? Whatever. But yet you go and get in trouble, or you feel like you're not being seen, or you want attention. So you go and mess up because that's at least a guaranteed way for you to get a conversation. My nephew used to do that. Like he would mess up because he knew my brother would talk to him. You
Mm,
don't have to do that, right? It doesn't have to be that way. If you
mm,
started to have like actual conversations, if you worked on the nature of the relationship. So God is not offended by our asking. He welcomes it.
yeah.
He welcomes all parts, right? Ask God everything,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
about the business, about the home, about the relationship, each one of those areas of assessment,
Yeah.
right? Invite him into it. Ask your questions. Because
Yeah.
how else are you going to get answers? He's not just going to, like, I need to know that you want to be in on this.
Hmm.
You asking means, oh, okay, now the door is open. Now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. But if
Now,
you keep a
now
door
I just
closed,
we
I'm
can
not
have
sliding a note
conversations.
underneath. I'm not, sending a kite through it's not jail. You're
Yeah.
not sending no kites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So open the door, ask a question, invite me in and sit down and let's talk about what it is, the things that concern you.
I love that you said that, because that's the practical advice to the spiritual aspect of when people say, but how do we do that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's that simple. Like, sit down, go through a life assessment. It's simply numbers 1 through 10, right? You take each area. So you have health, you have finances, you have maybe your marriage or relationships, you have friendships, you have career, maybe business, right? Maybe your children, all those different areas, right? Maybe it's like fun and leisure. And then you take and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Right? Is one is horrible?
Are you even on the scale?
Are you even on the scale? Get me off.
Because
Like, what is happening? Right? And 10 is like, this is amazing. Right? And
mm-hmm.
so, what I basically said to everyone is, if you fall below a 5 in any of those areas, right? Obviously, those are areas that are challenges for you. And those are the areas that you then say, okay, Father, here are my areas that I'm struggling with, right? And be honest. The thing about this is, you doing this assessment in the comfort of your home, or maybe you're doing it in therapy, or maybe you do it with a group of girlfriends or friends, whatever it is, and you look at it and you say, okay, this is where I'm at. All right, this is what I need prayer for, because that's
Mm-hmm.
the reality of where I'm at. I may not have to tell you all my business, right? But I know if I say, okay, my relationships feel like they are too. Okay, friends, we praying. The relationships feel like a two. I need new people, or I need to know how to handle the current people, or I need to know how to remove certain people, right?
Or
My
I need to change something in me.
right, or I need to change something in me because sometimes it's
It be the me.
it be me,
It
it's
don't
right.
be to them. It be the me. It
Right?
can't be everybody. Sometimes it's the you.
Sometimes it's you, right? And so identifying like, okay, this is me, all right. So my prayer needs to look a little different. And then sometimes it's not the you, right? It's gonna be, okay, it's family, it's a certain person, right, that's affecting you or
Hmm.
affecting your environment, right? And so you want to take that inventory and really be intentional about what that looks like. Hi, whoever's from Iowa. It's nice. Thanks for joining. But I think like this is part of the process, right? And what that looks like. And so understanding for yourself, right? What you need to do and how you need to ask yourself those questions. And I say to people, ask yourself, don't wait till the end of the year. Don't wait till the top of the year, right? Ask yourself these questions quarterly. Have a check in. Where are you in all of these areas? What can you be doing better? Holy Spirit, what could I be doing better? Where do I need to move or shift some things in these particular areas? And then you watch things start to change and develop over time. And you
Hmm.
see results. So, the big part of why we said introspection is key, and we were so fixed on like the dreams being unleashed comes from the introspection.
Yeah.
The more introspective you are and the more that you understand the areas that you need to work on, change, develop, and then you take time to understand what do I need to be, do to have the goals that I want, your goals will happen.
Hmm.
You won't be in the same place come next year. You
Yeah.
won't be in the same place come 3 months from now, right? And then you rinse and repeat the same formula. It's not rocket science. We gonna rinse and repeat the same thing over and over again, and then we're like, oh, that worked. This worked, right?
Hmm.
Because we're understanding who we are authentically. We're
Hmm.
understanding our capacity, right?
Right.
We're understanding what do I need to ask for? What does support look like for myself, right? And then we also understand what do we need in community. When you cover all those areas, you start to move through life in a different way. When
Hmm.
one of those areas go out of whack, that's when we start to see people decline in their mental, in their emotional, in their like all of the different things, right? All the different dimensions of wellness, we start to see a decline somewhere happen. And so you want to take time to just be introspective. Ask yourself the hard questions, y'all. Like sit long enough. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, it's January 18th. We're halfway through the first month. I should be here. I should be at nose. Leave that in last year, right?
Hmm.
Leave it at the door. Go back outside. Go back outside, right? And come back in and literally say to yourself, okay, what do I need to do right now? Where can I start right now? What is it?
Any day can be day one.
Any day can be day one. And if your day one is
March the
today,
3rd is fine.
it's fine.
June 22nd.
It's fine, right? But one thing I will say, if you see yourself back in the same pattern, in the same cycle, then there's something that you're not addressing that you need to address.
Yeah.
So, guys, we just gave y'all a snippet of what everybody got on Saturday. I keep saying on making me some letters behind her name, y'all. I'm gonna find some for her in some way, shape, or form. Um, but it was a great event. For those of you that missed it, you missed out.
You did. Now I'm open to a virtual option,
Yes, we are
but if you want,
considering a virtual option. And so if you are interested in a virtual option, definitely,
if
let
you
us
want
know.
us to do a Dreams Unleashed virtual option, that you can attend and participate in from the comfort of your home or office or wherever, so you don't have to be in the building. I know some people may have wanted to get to Jersey and could not. Send us a message.
Yep. Just
Send
send
Janelle a message, simply redefining, DM the word virtual,
there we
and
go.
we will send you the information. That's it.
That's it. So if you don't send the message, you're not getting the information. But that's basically send the message, and then we're just gonna continue to have some of these conversations throughout the year of what it looks like.
Hmm.
And check back in and see how people are doing and what has been helpful for them, continuing to break limiting beliefs so that people can live a life of freedom and live in their purpose that God designed them to do and be. And that's all we got for y'all today. Oh my
Right.
God, can you see the chat for Instagram? Because I can't see it.
I
I,
can
only,
see
I
it.
can only see the chat for Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, I can see the chat.
Any
All is well.
questions? All is well?
Yes, all is well.
Okay. So if y'all don't have no questions, it was nice chatting with you guys today. We'll leave this up. And y'all still have time. The Dreams Unleashed live series is still all on the page.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back and watch. We had, like I said, we had Pastor Mel talk about faith, vision and strategy. We had Keishan talk about finances,
Mm-hmm.
tax strategies, all the different things. We had Kimmy and Nakia talk about relationships. And then we had Takesha talk about real estate.
Yep.
So those were our conversations in our live series. And then we just wrapped up today with talking about limiting beliefs, capacity, and knowing yourself, and how that impacts your vision. So if you're just coming in, catch the replay, send it
I
to us.
hope this was helpful. I hope you got some nuggets. Um, if you have questions at a later date, you can message Janelle or myself,
Yeah.
and we'll answer them in a post, in a story, or something.
Yep.
But thank you guys for tuning in today.
Bye.
Bye.